Okay, so now what we are trying to do is learning OmniScript, which is a velocity package, right? And with the help of that package, what all things we can do, why we need that package, what are the ways,
Okay.
what is the learning curve for learning that OmniScript or velocity package, what all different
Yeah.
components are there, right? How we can prepare, what is the timeline that is needed. So
Yeah.
I will try to understand, okay, what is OmniScript for first place? Like why we go for velocity OmniScript? What is the need for that?
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Let you will ask me the questions, right?
Yes, yes. So this is already we have started that recording, right? So if you see here, right, what it tells is like OmniScript is a powerful tool,
Yes, sir.
right? And this tool is something which will help developer to make the development quick, fast, easy, and accurate. And it should be
Correct.
reusable, right? That is the sole purpose. There are
Correct.
so many things we have that we are learning in day to day life, right? Earlier we
Correct.
started with plain JavaScript buttons, right? That those were used to
Correct.
call S controls. Then we gradually moved to Visual Force pages. There were some action buttons with JavaScript. Visual Force page were
Correct.
more powerful, right? We can do anything and everything with Visual Force pages. Later on,
Yes, sir. Correct.
later on to find the resources which is across the industry for the UI development, right? Now then we
Correct.
shifted to Aura components. From Aura
Correct.
components, then again we switched to LWC, which is again lighter and fast development, and it is adhering to the standards of the other industries, right? So everywhere in the
Correct.
industry, you will have people working on the similar lines of UI technology. So it will be easy for Salesforce ecosystem to get the development for UI.
Yeah.
Then while
So
the,
this,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, while the
Omni
yeah,
Studios.
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Abhay. Go ahead.
Yeah, so while LWC was getting evolved, right, there was an ask for like a tool which admin can utilize or use to generate a UI. So that's where they also started with the powerful tool called Visual Flow. Right? The flows that we are seeing nowadays, every release after release, a lot of features are getting
Getting
introduced,
added.
yeah, getting added. So to make the life easier, because always it's the thumb rule like we should go with the low code, and whatever is out of box we should use that. Okay.
Yes.
So
Correct.
yeah, so now I have set up the context like okay, what all things we have as of today, which has evolved over the past like year or decade, you can say, in the UI area or UI development part for the Salesforce. Now, despite of
Yeah.
having all these things, now this is a new tool which is paid where we need licensing, right? So, what is
Yes.
OmniScript from your standpoint as you are working in OmniScript for quite a long time now, right?
Yeah. So the time since I start working on this Omni Studio, right? It made for me to build the UI very easily. So before when I was working in LWC to write a lot of code for building a normal page.
Mhm.
So for just for adding a input field and then adding a read field, so all those type of fields. So if I need to show it using LWC, I need to write a lot of code. But when I started to work on the Omni Studio, it was a most powerful tool for us to build a page very easily. So like drag and drop. So already there were components which were present in the Omni Studio. So for me, I just need to go and I just take the element from the Omni Studio and then add it into the Omni script. So it was making me to build a page very easily than the LWC. Yes, I'm not
Mm.
like telling that I'm not using LWC. If you want to add a more customization page, then we can go ahead with the LWC also. So
Yeah, so
he's
yeah,
giving an option.
definitely down
Yeah,
the line we'll definitely cover that point. I have a separate page for that where we will do a comprehensive comparison between LWC
correct.
and Omni, where when and where we should go for Omni and which is the right time to go for LWC. Although right,
Correct.
there are so many things around that, like using LWC and Omni with each other, right? We can even have that included, like we use
Mm,
in the flows.
correct,
So there are so many things that will be going through that. So it's
correct.
basically a UI development which will make life easy and far, like a quick development, quick to the market, right? That's where
Correct.
OmniScript is
Correct.
there. Okay, okay, and
Yeah, and for the Omni Studio also, if you want to show any data,
mhm.
we can directly you add a component of like data wrappers and add it, and then we can get the data from the Salesforce, and you can display it in the Omni Studio. So, or like there are different types of components like which we will like discuss for further on this topic. Like, how we can fetch the
Yes,
data from Salesforce and display it in the Omni Studio.
yeah. So okay, so now with OmniScript, now we understand we can do a developing a UI, right? Not only UI,
Yeah.
we can also handle the business logic, right? We can do so many things, right, that we'll be learning. But there are so many things that we can do with LWC or any other UI, like Visual Force page, which was very powerful, right? So same thing
Yes.
you can do with Omni. Definitely there will be some limitations. We'll talk, we'll when we'll come to that point, we'll discuss, right, what is the performance,
Yeah.
what are the
How to use the
limitations, right?
correct. Correct. So
So
there are limitations.
yeah,
So that case we'll be using LM. We can discuss that first.
yeah. So okay, now for those who are like willing to learn or who want to learn about the OmniScript, right? Because this is very widely used in the market nowadays,
Yes.
right? So this is
Correct.
the URL which I found out to get started with Omni Studio, right? So this URL here, it's full documentation around Omni Studio, right? Those who want to learn Omni Studio, we know Salesforce ecosystem, right? They are very strong on the training part, and part of it is like this. So they have defined a path, what all things you need, what is the Omni Studio,
Okay.
you can learn about Omni Studio. Then the next thing comes how to install, right? Because it is not readily available. You don't get
Yes.
org, like a developer org which we get generally. Nowadays we don't get a Omni Studio specific org, right? You have to get it from your company. If you are a partner, right, you can get a partner org. Otherwise, if you it is in your project, you will definitely have the development boxes where Omni will be installed, right?
Yes.
So we'll definitely talk around the how to get started, then what all the steps or settings we need to do for Omni Studio to be installed and functional, right? Then
Mm, yes.
there are various aspect to it, right? What is so you mentioned about drag and drop, right? So what all things are
Yes.
available as a part of drag and drop? I'm sure that like
Yeah.
there was a time when Visual Studio was there with .NET, and there we used to have a form where we can drag and drop the UI elements. So similarly,
Correct.
there is something right around that. Then there will be a database connectivity for fetching the data. So all those things will be
Yes.
here, even adding a validation on the UI. So if I take to one of the screen that you developed, right? So if I go here, now this is our flexi page, right? Those who are aware of Salesforce, this is opportunity or accounts, account record. And within the account record, I just dragged and dropped Omni that you prepared, right? So if you see here, this
Yeah.
is a kind of UI. There's no single line of code, right, written in Apex or anything, or LWC. This is just, or there may be some LWC included within, but most of the things are like point and click. All these UI element,
Correct.
then clicking on next, I will be able to move to the next screen. I can add validations require, make a element required. I can put some show hide
Record.
details,
Yeah.
right? I can make it read only. All those things definitely we're going to learn, but this is just a thing I want to show as a glimpse, right? So with this
Yes. Abhi.
kind of thing, we should be able to do a lot of things, right? UI with various options for end user to interact
Yeah.
with, right? Showing list, all those things with just point and click and little coding maybe if required, which is again
Yeah.
possible, right? And then you can just navigate to previous by clicking here as well. So there are so many things which are good, because there
which we
might,
can achieve it.
yeah,
Yes,
there might be a question from end user like, okay, we do have standard Salesforce UI. There also we can control hide and show and few other things, right? So why we need Omni? So I think once we go down the line and learn about Omni, those all questions will be answered, right? Where all
correct,
places, what are the limitation with standard UI, and then how best this is suited for requirement types, generating or creating wizard style UI components, right? A multi-step UI,
correct, correct. Yeah.
right? So this is all point and click, and this is what will ensure a quick development, quick time to market. That's where we should be
Less
learning
less
Omni.
code.
Hmm.
Yes, less coding. Just we need to drag and drop, and it's going to save our time. Instead of writing a line of code, we have the drag and drop of the element.
Correct, correct,
We
correct,
can
correct.
spend save time.
Yes. Okay. I think that is enough for the beginning, right?
Yes,
And in next session
the
we'll cover like what all things we need to take care for installation, what are the settings that we need to do while fetching those components from Salesforce to your local machine via VS Code or any other means, right?
correct, correct.
Let me stop.